Your garlic has sprouted. Now what? I'm going to show you 3 of the most important things you need to be doing now that your garlic has sprouted and they are ready to put on rapid growth before they head into winter slowdown time, and then making sure they have everything they need for the spring push and bulbing process. So to kick things off, yes, you can start garlic in modules. All of these were started about the same time that I did the video on planting garlic. I'm going to show you those garlics now. I just wanted to show you all of these are going to go into the ground now, but in essence, if you don't want to risk putting it into the ground with voles or anything else that might be eating the bulbs, plant them like this. You can see they sprout. Once they have their second leaf out, pull them out gently and put them in the position you want. It's perfectly fine to grow your garlic that way. If you haven't seen my video on planting garlic, please give it a watch. I'll tag it up for you. But in essence, these are the bulbs that I planted in that video right underneath a banana tree. And you can see all of them have sprouted. The very, very first thing you need to be doing with your garlic is making sure they now have mulch. This is a leaf mulch from the garden and it's already started to break down quite a bit. But you can see straight underneath it is beautiful damp soil. Sandy soil, but beautiful damp dark colors. And what this is doing is it's creating a constant temperature and moisture level in the soil, which is exactly what the garlic wants to thrive. Now I planted my garlic with a thick layer of mulch on top, and you can see they all sprouted perfectly fine. Some say you should plant without mulch and then once it grows out, then mulch it. Personally, I haven't found it to deter it or be a benefit either way, so it's really up to you. I just so happened that there was a lot of mulch around this banana tree base, so it was here. But there's some others around the garden that don't have mulch, which I will mulch up now. So number 1, make sure you add a nice thick 5 to 10 centimeter layer of mulch of your choice. I prefer leaf mulch. It's natural, it's free, but you can also use a range of other things. The second thing you're going to want to do is make sure you get a good spray of copper fungicide onto the leaves as soon as there's 1 or 2 leaves that have come out. And then from there, make sure that you're spraying on a monthly basis, once a month. And why we're doing this is to make sure that we keep, or at least try and keep, the rust away from garlic. This is especially true in places like Cape Town or the Western Cape, where we have very, very wet winters. You would obviously know your environment best to see what you need to be doing. Inland Highveld doesn't really struggle as much with rust as we do along coastal areas where we get winter rainfall and high humidity areas. So that is the second most important thing, more relevant to high humidity and coastal areas, is make sure you get your early spray of copper fungicide as soon as possible, and then make sure you get a monthly application of it. It's organic, it's not going to damage the plants or your ecosystem, but it's going to make sure that you're going to get bulbs, because like I've experienced last year, I had small bulbs because I got absolutely annihilated by the rust on the garlic. And what the rust does is it prevents the leaves from photosynthesizing, which then results in the bulbs not having the energy that they need to bulb out. So make sure you get this on as a preventative measure before the rust sets in. And then the third thing is fertilizing. What I like to do is I prefer to use high nitrogen organic pellets, and then I go against what the manufacturers say. So this is completely up to you, use at your own discretion. But because we have irregular rainfall in Cape Town, sometimes there can be a week with no rain, and sometimes it can be 3, 4, 5 days, 2 weeks with rain. I don't personally like the pellets because during those dry spells, you obviously then not getting any fertilizers coming down into the ground, And because the soil is moist with our cool temperatures in winter, you don't want to consistently be watering your plants just to get the high nitrogen fertilizer to start breaking down. So what I like to do is hasten up the breakdown process. So what I do is I take half a cup of the pelletized fertilizer, and then I put it into a bucket with 10 liters of water. I then let that sit for about half an hour and give it a good stir every now and then. And what happens is the pellets completely dissolve. The liquid, the water changes into a nice dark brown smell, that strong smell fertilizer that you can then apply straight to the plants in a moist ground state, and then all those nutrients are going straight to the root base immediately. You're not waiting for it to break down. And you can do this once a month during the cooler months. I would say in April, if you planted it in March, you can do one in March, one in April. If you planted your garlic in April and they only started sprouting in April, then get one good dose of high nitrogen fertilizer in. It's probably not going to be enough before the cold sets in, but at least doing it this way then gives you the ability to put that high nitrogen fertilizer where you want it and make sure the plants can actually absorb it during the time they need to. So there you have it, 3 really important things you need to be doing with your garlic now, considering they have just started sprouting, have 3 or 4 leaves out, and need all the care and attention now to make sure you get a harvest next year, late spring, early summer. Just to recap, first of all, mulch. Thick layers of mulch, just to make sure you don't get those rapid temperature fluctuations. And also, what the mulching does is creates a constant moisture environment. If you haven't seen my video, please watch it. It's about how to water your garlic correctly. So if you're putting on thick layers of mulch, please keep your watering in mind, because it's really easy to overwater them, and then you deal with issues like rot and other water-based fungal diseases that can happen to your plants. Then we got to look at preventing one of the most serious garlic diseases, which is rust. Using a copper-based fungicide, get that first application in now, as soon as possible, and then if you're in rust-prone areas, once a month from here on out, just to make sure you don't get hit with this terrible disease. Then make sure you are giving it a nice big punch of high nitrogen fertilizer so that you can get as much energy into producing as many leaves as possible and as bigger leaves as possible now when it is actively growing and there is still a little bit of heat in the air before it heads into a little bit of its winter dormancy, because it's not going to be putting much new growth on from spring onwards. What's there is going to be absorbing energy and putting it into the production of the bulb. So get all of your foliar growth in now and help the plants by giving them a nice big punch of organic fertilizer, preferably in the technique that I showed you, so that you can get as much as possible as quick as possible. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions about growing garlic, watering, fertilizing, using copper-based fungicides on your garlic, please drop me a comment. I will most definitely get back to you. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out to your networks. We can all help each other learn, contribute to the knowledge base, and please subscribe to my journey, where I'm going to take you along my garlic growing journey this year and many of my other journeys as well. So please subscribe, stay updated, and until next time, happy growing.